over the course of the first 12 to 24 months of life. An infant's vocabulary is rapidly expanding. They're learning how to combine sounds to form words and how to use those words to influence the world around them. It's mesmerizing to watch a child process out and realize that those sounds they're making are actually having an impact on those around them. As the years go on, they develop a more complicated syntax, and if they don't understand something, they master the art of questioning. My son Oliver is 6 years old, and he's still in that phase of wonder where he wants to question everything. Why do I have to wear shoes? How do people get out of the graveyard to go visit their families? Last week, he wanted to know, if you lose your eye, will you die? Why do people drive in the dark? Can giants touch the bottom in the ocean? And is black the last color? These are all questions he asks us out of nowhere. And then somewhere along the way, that curiosity stops. That moment of constant growth and evolution fades. Many kids try to blend into their surroundings. They try to fall into the background and blend in like camouflage. If I don't move, maybe the teacher won't call on me. Look busy. Look like you're reading something. Anything to not have to speak or respond. I still remember one day in high school. It was a sunny day. My friends and I, we were sitting outside, and I was sitting a little further back from the group, just listening to them joke around and tell stories. And then one of them turned to me and said, "How's the mute doing?" I didn't respond. I didn't ever respond. You see, something happened in that transition from middle school to high school. It wasn't something dramatic. It wasn't some traumatic event that caused it, but incrementally, over that transition from 8th grade to 9th grade, I stopped thinking that what I had to say mattered. So I talked less. In elementary and middle school, you couldn't shut me up. But that first year of high school, I slowly lost my voice. At first, I would talk if you were standing right next to me and asked me a direct question. But eventually, I just stopped talking altogether. I would just nod and smile and try to deflect what you were saying. All of it was a way for me to prevent myself from saying something wrong or something stupid. I became really good at observing people, but not sharing. I was an avid reader and would hide my nose in a book to keep you from asking me questions. I was really good at playing the role of a high school student. I had a girlfriend, I was in a band, I waited tables at a restaurant. If you asked my teachers, they never would have guessed. You've probably met students just like me. They would say things like, "Oh, he's a good student. You know, sometimes he forgets to do his homework, but overall he's a good kid. He's a great group member because he never distracts others." Or, "I'm hoping he'll be a good influence on those around him." And I hated it. I hated my classmates for not talking to me. I hated my teachers for not seeing me struggling. But mostly, I hated myself for not knowing what to say. I hated my life. It got so bad that I started to think maybe if I wasn't around anymore, people would listen. I would finally have something to say in the most dramatic way possible. I used to wonder what my funeral would be like. I used to wonder if anyone besides my family would come. I really don't know how I made it through high school. And then I moved away to college, and those first 2 weeks of college were 2 of the hardest weeks of my life. I was on my own again. Only this time, I was truly on my own. I didn't have my family to fall back on. I didn't have my friends to fall back on. I felt like I had no one. I felt like I was a bubble and I was going to burst because I had so much I wanted to say, but I didn't know how to say it. I didn't know how to make new friends. I didn't know how to get my voice out there. It was high school all over again. And at that moment, when I felt like I had nothing to say, when I felt like nothing would ever get better, I had to make a conscious choice to try something different. I got involved on campus. I made a conscious choice to find people who would listen. I finally felt like I had something to say and a means to say it. Without that, I probably would have dropped out. Now, over the years, I've become more confident in what I want to say, how I want to say it, and how to get my voice out there. But it's still sometimes a struggle. You see, I don't come by this naturally. I'm an introvert masquerading as an extrovert. I want to be included in the group, but on the outside of the group. I want to be invited into a conversation, but I don't know how to initiate a conversation. I want to be invited to present a TED Talk, but that small talk afterwards terrifies me. It's this world of paradoxes that I live in. But that is why I do what I do in the classroom. I want to help students find their voice. I don't want them to spend their school careers wondering why nobody cares about what they have to say. Over all of my years of teaching, the most common piece of graffiti I see is etched into desks and scrawled on bathroom walls. It says, blank was here. Christopher was here. Sam was here. Anaya was here. Desra was here. Students just want to be heard. They want you to notice them and hear them. They want to feel like their existence matters. I teach because I want to give students the tools to express themselves and give them a clear way to articulate the thoughts that they are too afraid to speak. Those thoughts that are bursting in their minds that they just don't know how they can unleash them to the world. I want to give them the tools, the ability to share those things that they are just dying to share. I want to help them find their place where they feel like they belong, find their people, find their community. I want to help them find their voice and use it.